AI to help me expedite the process of finding clients for my digital, I don't know, media, my digital media side of my AI-architects consultancy firm. So what I have is a list of businesses that just received funding, and I got that from a specific place called, let me make sure that I tell you correctly. Sorry, I should have prepared for this a little bit better. Here we go. Okay, I got this from Launch Gravity. So I had said that I would review their data and see if it was worth purchasing. I paid $100 for these plus a few more, and I'll see if I see that these leads are any good, then I will continue to buy them ever so often. But if I notice that it's the exact same thing that I could have gotten out of GPT, or that they just provided me some kind of random data, then of course I will report on that. So we don't know yet about the Launch Gravity quality, but what I do know is that with the new GPT, ChatGPT stuff that got added, I go over here and I did try to first use my own data. This was my prompt. I'll read it out in case you're driving and listening to this. Can you please look at my data and let me know a strategic plan for how to contact these firms? I prefer health-related companies that have the lowest funding amounts, so the bottom third money-wise. And how do I know if they have a phone number that I can call? Or do you have some other suggestion for a strategy where I can reach them to see if they are interested in my ability to use AI to drive intelligent decisions in marketing? Because what good is a great idea if nobody knows about it? And how much easier is it to sell an idea to people once they are familiar with a known product or presence? Notice that I'm using very general English, probably not the most eloquent way of phrasing a question, but I have found that prompt engineering in this way, where I am more transparent about my own thought process as I'm thinking about what I'm trying to find, usually gets me better answers. And I really like the supportive answer at the bottom, where it told me, regarding the strategy, emphasizing the value of AI in marketing can be compelling. Companies are always looking for an edge, and AI can provide that by optimizing marketing strategies, personalizing customer interactions, and predicting market trends. So my pitch should focus on how my AI capabilities can translate into tangible benefits for these companies, such as increased ROI, customer acquisition, and retention, which is great because this morning my partner and I spent about an hour trying to figure out how to phrase this. So now I know, just go here and then run it and then check with my partner so that I have a concrete example to go by. So I did try to run it. The plugins are crashing again. So it can't even like go online to look at my forms anymore, and maybe that was because I didn't pick the right plugin, but either way it was not able to plug into the internet. So I went over here to look for what to use. They do have these new GPTs, they called them, I believe. So I'm gonna drop my file into this data analysis one, and we're gonna see if it can give us any insight. So introducing GPTs, this is the first time that I use these. Let's find out. Okay, so I'm going to, I think I did copy my, here is my message, and see, I don't know if you can see this at the bottom, that paperclip. I know that it's going to be able to ingest my data. I don't know how big of a file it can ingest, but if it has issues with this size of file, then I would be concerned, but I doubt that it will, because this is only 3.7 megabytes. So let's see what it tells us about this data. Looks like it's reading it just fine. And it read it. I'm going to give it my, let's see if it'll talk to me. I can't tell if it's doing anything. So I'm going to rerun it. Okay, it's finally doing something. Yeah, that like UX UI graphic with like that little bubble, so helpful. So it's analyzing my data. So it's analyzing 3.7 megabytes. And notice in my prompt, I also asked it, like, is this the best way? Because maybe there's a better way, you know? Like maybe it's gonna say like, nah, like biggest bang for your buck. Here's an email template. Look at it. If you like it, use it. If not, update it.
The dataset includes various details about companies and their representatives, such as names, emails, LinkedIn profiles, and funding information. To formulate a strategic plan to contact these firms with a focus on health-related companies in the bottom third funding-wise, we can follow these steps. Filter health-related companies. Use the experience keywords or any other relevant column to identify companies related to health. Identify bottom third in funding. Calculate the funding threshold that separates the bottom third of companies funding-wise. Gather contact information. Collect emails and check for phone numbers, if available. For the selected companies, plan the outreach. Craft a personalized outreach strategy based on the available contact information. To proceed, I will first filter the health-related companies from the dataset. Then, I'll identify the bottom third of these companies based on their last funding amount or total funding amount, whichever is more appropriate. Lastly, I'll check for the presence of phone numbers or suggest an alternative contact method based on the data available. Let's start by filtering out the health-related companies and identifying the bottom third in terms of funding. We've successfully identified 122 health-related companies that fall into the bottom third in terms of funding. It appears that there are no columns explicitly designated for phone numbers in the dataset. Given this information, here's a strategic plan for how to contact these firms. Prioritize by funding. You already have a subset of companies with the lowest third of funding. It may be beneficial to prioritize those with the smallest amounts within this group, as they might be more open to innovative solutions to maximize their limited resources. Use email for initial contact. Since the dataset contains email addresses but no phone numbers, you can start by reaching out via email. Craft a personalized message that explains how your AI expertise can drive intelligent decisions in marketing, specifically tailored to the needs of a health-related company. Leverage LinkedIn. You have the personal LinkedIn profiles of company representatives. Use this platform to connect with them and to gain further insight into the company's operations and needs. This can also serve as an alternative means of establishing contact if emails go unanswered. Research additional contact information. While the dataset does not contain phone numbers, you may be able to find them through a bit of research. Check the official company websites or professional directories that may list contact details. Prepare an elevator pitch. Be ready with a succinct and compelling pitch that conveys the value of your AI services for marketing. Highlight any success stories or case studies where your services have driven growth or improved decision-making. Offer demonstrable value. Consider providing a free initial consultation or analysis to showcase the potential impact of your services. This can help in building trust and demonstrating your commitment to helping their business. Follow up strategically. After the initial contact, follow up with additional information or an invitation to a call or meeting. Keep track of your interactions to maintain a structured outreach process. Would you like to proceed by preparing a list of the emails from these companies, or do you have another step in mind?
You are spot on, and you exactly understood the reason why I picked the bottom third of these funded companies. That's a really good job. And I think that, yes, we should create a email to interact with them would be the first step. And if you are able to extract any insights like behavioral purchasing insights from the names of the companies or any of the other information, that would be very valuable. And if you can please help me with the first round template of what this email list should look like, I will be using this email list to create my funnel scheme. So this is great. And then I am going to be pumping these through my call sling portal, which helps me keep track of whom I've called if I ever do get back numbers. But you're right, if you can help me make a CSV or something, or a CVS where I can, whichever, basically a comma separated values list. So CSV, that'd be great. Did it even catch all that? It didn't. Okay, maybe I was too wordy. So we're gonna say that this is better. Okay, let me see if it lets me respond. Okay, I'm just gonna type it out, okay? Yes, that sounds great. Okay, but you guys heard like my thought process is back. So we're going to ask her, please make a CSV to put into my funnel and add them to my address my email list. So everyone's been talking about how important these email lists are. Well, and I was like, man, I don't know how to even begin this. Well, here I am beginning my email list. So I think this is what sets me apart from the way most people do stuff. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not just like taking one thing and then working on that. I like it's like, imagine raking leaves instead of like pushing one leaf at a time with a fork or with a pencil, right? Like the right tool is to use a fucking rake and just like rake in the dough, right? Like that's like, maybe that's why they call it rake in the dough. But like I'm basically like targeting everything that I thought I should do this morning. I'm targeting it right now, and it has taken like 7 minutes for me to run this through, and it slowed down because this thing talks pretty slowly, and because I had to make sure that I knew where my files were. But that's I think why it's hard for me to explain to somebody when they ask me like, well, how'd you do that, or like, what's your thought process? I don't know how to continually slow down what I'm doing to continually give somebody those kinds of answers. Like, I do think that the right people that are the ones I want around me and the ones that I've seen succeed are others that are able to like connect many dots in many ways at the same time. And when the Venn diagram of thoughts emerges, the overlapping middle ground is when I know that we've hit on something significant. So for example, the fact that she understood why I was picking the bottom third, and that's why I thought it was a good idea, is to me brilliant. So then I know that that's like one of those ideas that I'm definitely going to run with. Then the next thing is that it also knew, I'm going to call her a she. She's not sentient. I think she's lucid, but not sentient. And I don't even know if, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Like, that's a whole other rabbit hole, right? But anyway, the other thing is that the understanding of that maybe the best marketing campaign isn't to sit there and cold call. And that's what she also said, right? So yeah, I agree. Like, let's make a good email. So if we make a good email, we're targeting people that might be a little bit desperate, a little bit more desperate for like, how are they going to sell their shit? Which is fine. Like, I'm a little bit desperate. Like, how am I going to sell my shit? I'm not desperate. I should rephrase that. I'm saying like I've carved out these months in my life so that I could be here right now to like max out on how much I can dedicate towards building something bigger and better. Cause I'm already like not working the whole year pretty much, and I'm still living all right. And yeah, I'm collecting my unemployment because my real estate taxes do not go into my reported income, since my profession is software engineering. And not my fault that I didn't like succeed in any of those companies. Like, sincerely did my best. I work as hard for them as I do for myself, but I'm not going to fire myself, because I know that I'm always like doing the best I can with everything that I know, and also checking in with like artificial intelligence. So it's not like I'm making any decisions by myself without any like real, I guess, like ability to explain why or synthesize why. So anyway, before I go deeper into that rabbit hole, so the important thing today is to generate this email list. And maybe I'm not going to make phone calls today. It's very possible I'm not going to start off with phone calls. I was terrified of the phone calls, but I do have this call sling thing set up. But more important than that is my email list, because I've been listening to some like a lot of entrepreneurs that are like at that million billionaire phase, and they're all talking about having your own email list. And I understand it from a digital real estate standpoint. Like, I'm talking about from the very beginnings of what a 0 and a 1 in binary mean, to the TCP IP layers, to what it means to own a domain, to what it means to know their address versus relying on some platform. Like, I understand that like to the max, to the letter, to like the most microcosmic grain that you can fathom. So as I'm like spewing all this stuff out, remember that I'm doing it for myself, because I do like to sanity check my own self, that the thought process I'm following is actually like pretty wickedly clever. I think it is, because so did it, you know? So like, let's craft this letter. So yes, that sounds great. Please make a CSV to put into my funnel, into my sales funnel, so I can add them, so I can keep track of them in my email list. Then please, and then like, this is like so algorithmic, right? So that like, I'm basically setting down the SOP for what I would expect my LLM to do. What does all that shit mean? I'm basically like, when people are talking about having to create operations and systems for your businesses, this is my system for my business. Like, yes, I'm going to dump some data on you, and I expect you to give me like this kind of type of thinking. And then I want you to put it into some digital format that's easy for me to digest as a human. And then I want you to take all of the data that you have and use an emotional trigger that is most relevant to the majority, or if not, like create A/B testing to see which one hits the best for which type of category, and create the templated emails that I would be injecting into each of these folks. Please give me, and then I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to write that down. So then, please access any type of purchasing psychology types of info you might have access to, so we can craft a few templates and decide how to A/B test these templates on these leads. Let's devise a way to keep track of what seems to be the most effective for each of the subgroups as we progress this first effort at reaching out. Okay, after that, please help me devise the individual emails per the total groups we determined. And let's meaningfully label these groups. So in my mind, I'm thinking like it's going to take the industry that they're coming from, and possibly like if it's a nonprofit or if it's for profit, and like come up with like, these are probably your Wall Street wolves, like, you know, like the for-profit medical companies that sell devices. They might be the Wall Street wolves, but they also might be like the super compassionate, you know, like Doctors Without Borders group. But either way, I think both of those groups share like the common traits of somebody that is like very much like driven to accomplish a mission. And in this case, I know that their mission is probably like to not just be funded, but to like survive and thrive as quickly as possible. So so I'm not typing that in because I want to see if it also agrees that that is like a strategic move. And if it does, then I'll feel like, yeah, like I got some ideas. And then if it doesn't, and it gives me a completely different thing that I don't find sense in, then I will ask it like the more specific questions. So as I applied to all of these companies, you know, it was really hard to like explain to these non-technical people, like my job of having to go back and explain what an A/B test is, and like what does business psychology mean, and what does purchasing psychology mean, and like why'd you pick the bottom third? Because most people would probably have thought pick the richest ones and offer them because they'll have more money. Like, no, not at all. Like they probably already have this box checked, you know? And if they don't, they're not worried about it because they don't need money. So like all of these like little differences in the way that I extrapolate information from the way everybody that I've ever worked for or been interviewed for does is to me like the key ingredient between what makes me like street smart and book smart. And I have not met yet anybody that like matches me on that. Except for, I have never met her, but Cody Sanchez like really strikes me because I think she's the only other person I've ever observed, at least one that is public enough about their thoughts, that is able to very eloquently like bring together those two worlds. And you see it in her personality. She's probably heavily influenced by her husband. And so like that's the only real life example I've ever seen of that. I'm sure plenty of people like that exist, but I have yet to run into their metacognitive processes documentation. In any case, so after it, let's get back to this here. Let's devise a way to keep track of what seems to be the most effective for each of the subgroups. Okay, and then we can talk about generating Python scripts to be as efficient and effective as possible in sending out these emails and collecting information. we can use any type of automation, including platforms like Zap. I don't really like Zap, but it is sometimes better to trigger the automations with Python scripts, because then I own all the data. However, I am open to suggestions. So the reason why I'm not a big fan of Zapier is because I used it and then it didn't have any of the stuff that to me is like basic logic. Like, don't let it go in an infinite loop. Like, put something in there so you're not constantly emailing yourself back and forth. And so I ended up like wasting 2,000 zaps in like a minute because it kept emailing itself. Like, one email kept emailing itself. So to me, like yes, AWS does this also, and it's one of the ways that some companies go under. I worked at a startup where like they didn't realize that they luckily had put in the right type of whatchamacallit, like stopgap, so that it wouldn't execute some kind of lambda like more than 30,000 times. And I think the intention, if I recall correctly, it was like the intention was 3 times, but the code was wrong, so it did it 3,000 times, and it finally stopped because it reached some kind of limit. But if they hadn't thought to put that limit in, it would have like killed the company, because it would have gone infinitely, and those things add up. Like, the computation starts to add up. So yeah, like, it's probably, I'm not saying that Zapier isn't any good. It is actually like quite good if that many people are using it. But I think that someone that understands code like can understand my frustration of like, why am I paying for an automation that is making me babysit it more than if I had written my own automation? So it is very possible that what I'll do is because I kind of still have like a, I don't know, like a reservation about Zapier right now. But, which might change, you know, like once I like make sure I carve out the time to like understand like what I did that day. But till then, like, I'll probably just trigger one email list through like a cron job off of my my own my own laptop, like through my ZSHRC shell. Like, I'll just create a Python script that does it for me, and that'll be like my first round of like sending out any kinds of emails. That's like practically free for me. And even if it's not, at least I'll know like exactly who I sent what, and I don't have to spend all day trying to figure out what I did wrong with Zapier. And beyond that, it's like me creating my own standard operating procedures, because we don't know, like, once AI hits, like, what if somebody outdoes Zapier like by a landslide, and then Zapier goes under, and then there goes all those people's like tons of data, and not just that, but like, what if Zapier is like taking all those people's data and like maximizing on that, you know? Like, you just don't know. So at least I know, as I'm contacting people, like yes, we're never completely not monitored, but at least I have like more transparency and more, I'm not gonna say control, but just like more knowledge about like what's happening exactly to the data and when I issued it. And if something crashes, like, hopefully I'm smart enough to back up my data or get like a time machine by then so I can back up my Mac, which I haven't done, but I should. And then I get to keep track of like all of that stuff. And yeah, I can put it into the cloud in multiple pods and like, you know, just like create multiple copies, and then I'm not relying on Zapier going under, and then or somebody like harvesting Zapier, or like, you know, like, what if somebody creates, like, uses AI plus quantum computing to create some like super algorithm that hijacks everybody's computers, and then they don't have access to their data. Just kind of like what happened with a lot of the crypto stuff, where like the exchanges got either hacked, or I don't know, I still think it was kind of fishy the way it all happened. But anyway, like, if you didn't take your Bitcoin off of the exchanges and put it into cold store, like, you basically lost your Bitcoin, which, by the way, I did, but I was able to get all of it back in losses in my taxes. And I had some other Bitcoin in some other cold store somewhere. So just saying, like, these are like the kinds of things that I think about that I don't know how to express more succinctly. And sometimes I'm told I like overcomplicate things, but I think it's not about overcomplicating them. It's about like planning intelligently, like with purpose, just like this. So I think this is enough of a side convo for me for this. So I'm just going to let it go. And this video, I am not going to show everything on the video. I am going to continue recording it, and I will only make this content accessible to people that sign up to my newsletter, right? So this will be like the first round of newsletter. And then after that, moving
The
forward,
CSV file for your sales funnel has been created and includes the full name, first name, last name, email, and last funding amount for the health-related companies in the bottom third of funding. You can download it using the link below. Download the sales funnel CSV file. Sandbox, MNT Data Health-related companies sales funnel. Here's an approach for purchasing psychology and A/B testing. Crafting email templates. Develop a set of email templates that incorporate principles of purchasing psychology. For instance, one template could emphasize scarcity, limited time offer. Another could focus on authority, case studies and expert endorsements, and another on social proof. Testimonials from other health companies. Segmentation for A/B testing. Segment the list into different groups for A/B testing. For example, split them by last funding amount or based on whether they are serial founders versus first-time founders. Tracking performance. Use unique identifiers for each template version and segment. When you send out emails, track which version each contact receives. This can be done through your email marketing software or CRM platform. Measuring and analyzing results. Measure open rates, click-through rates, and response rates for each template and segment. Use this data to determine the most effective approach for each subgroup. Iterative improvements. Use the insights gained from the initial tests to refine the email templates and your segmentation. Continue to test and optimize over time. Automation with Python. While platforms like Zapier are convenient for automation, using Python scripts can give you more control and ownership over your data. A script can be written to automate the sending of emails, record which template was used, and track responses. Data ownership and privacy. If you use a script, ensure you have proper measures in place for data protection and comply with email regulations such as GDPR or CAN-SPAM. Would you like to start by developing the email templates based on purchasing psychology, or would you like to discuss the technical aspects of the Python script for automation first?
let's start with the email templates, and let's also make sure that we are compliant with GDPR or CAN-SPAM as we develop those. And one burning question is, do I send them all from the same email address, like both the A and the B tests? Oh, didn't hear me. Okay, yes, let's start with the emails. Those approaches sound perfect. Can we please incorporate GDPR or CAN-SPAM? I am not familiar with those regulations. I am only superficially familiar with those regulations. So let's be very careful. We are compliant as far as you are aware. Okay, burning question. Do I send these from? Do I send both tests from the same email, or are we going to mask email send addresses? So if you notice, like, she didn't quite say exactly what I was saying, but the whole like GDPR and CAN-SPAM compliance, well, I have kept saying since all of this started was that like companies need to be prepared for when shit starts hitting the fan and the governmental regulations start like imposing sanctions on companies that haven't been careful with this. So once again, like, I feel like win-win on my team because I am making sure that I have absolute control of my own data. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the word control because so does she. And that I'm not exposing like all of my clients' or potential clients like information to things that are susceptible to stuff like that. And I like, so see, like, even she says like Zapier is convenient for automation, but we don't know what Zapier is like under the hood. I can tell you that some of these other ones that were like so excited about how great they were at helping you automate your processes, and I can't remember what they were called, but it was basically like as you click, it takes screenshots of whatever you're doing. Like, in theory, that's great, but if you're, you know, like, if your clients are sending you their business cards, I'm sorry, like their credit card numbers or their debit card numbers and their birthdays and crap like that, like, Like, yeah, maybe we don't see it, but that doesn't mean that it didn't get recorded somewhere or there isn't some way to unscramble that signal. Like, that's just so, to me, like, ridiculous that people thought that that was a good idea. And as it like unfolded more, like other people online started to say stuff like that too, I noticed. Which might have been like me manufacturing stuff. And yes, I know that it sounds like I'm always like just pooping on every AI product that's out there. I'm not. I actually just put out a video that talks about how amazing Claude 2 did of a job in helping me like digest a book that I couldn't, like a, what is it, like Fast Like a Girl. It helped me like really understand what to do, and the advice that the book was intending to convey to me that I was only able to extrapolate with Claude 2 had helped me lose 7 pounds in about 2 months. I haven't gained it back. I get to eat more, work out less, and I feel like my mood is more stable, like way more stable. And so I'm not always like poo-pooing like every AI product out there. In fact, like look at me, I like basically am like BFF with ChatGPT, right? So like not every AI product is poopy, but I'm just saying like I think that a lot of influencers out there, like they're like, oh, I use Zapier, and it's like, well, good for you, probably because you don't know how to code, homie. Like you know, and you don't understand the implications of what you're doing. It's like a like if I go out and I use like a machine gun and I kill like everybody around me, it doesn't mean that I really understand weapons the same way that like a, I don't know, like a smith would understand the way that they put together a revolver, right? Like it's not the same. It doesn't translate the same. Like yes, you got to kill all the people, but like that doesn't mean that I would trust you to go fix my Uzi, you know? Like I wouldn't. So henceforth, like I would probably rather somebody that knows how to fix my Uzi make my next Uzi, not someone that just uses it to kill. Because I don't know if that analogy holds, but like if that analogy makes sense, but it holds. All right, so let's see what she says.
Certainly. Incorporating GDPR and CAN-SPAM compliance into your email outreach is crucial. Here's a brief overview of each. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. This is a European Union regulation that requires businesses to protect the personal data and privacy of EU citizens for transactions that occur within EU member states. Key points include obtaining clear consent from individuals before sending emails, providing an easy way to opt out of communications, and ensuring their data is securely handled. CAN-SPAM, Controlling the Assault of Non-Solicited Pornography and Marketing Act. This is a law that sets the rules for commercial email and messages, gives recipients the right to have a business stop emailing them, and outlines the penalties for violations. It requires that your messages are clearly identified as an ad, includes your valid physical postal address, and provides a clear way to opt out of receiving future emails from you. For the A/B testing, from the same email address, sending both versions from the same email address is common practice in A/B testing. It helps maintain consistency and avoids any deliverability issues that may arise from using different addresses. However, it's important to only change one variable at a time, e.g., subject line, content, call to action, to accurately measure which version performs better. Masking email send addresses. Using different send addresses can be useful if you want to test deliverability or sender name impact on open rates. However, this is not typically necessary for content-based A/B tests, and having too many send addresses could complicate compliance with email regulations. For compliance, include an opt-out option. Always include a clear way for recipients to unsubscribe from your email list in every message. Be transparent. Make sure the subject line and body of the email are not misleading and clearly represent the intent of your email. Data security. Ensure that you securely store any personal data you collect and only use it for the purposes consented to by the individual. Now, let's draft the 2 different email templates based on purchasing psychology principles that you can use for A/B testing. Template A. Scarcity. This template will emphasize a limit time-free consultation offer to make a quick decision. Template B. Social proof. This template will include testimonials and case studies from other companies to build trust and credibility. We can start with template A if you agree, and once we have that drafted, we'll move on to template B. Would you like to proceed with drafting template A?
Yes, let's proceed with template A. And can we confirm that I am in the clear for GDPR because I am in the United States contacting other folks in the United States. I am not in Europe contacting folks in the United States.
If you're in the United States and you're contacting people who are also in the United States, GDPR generally would not apply to you. GDPR is concerned primarily with the data of EU citizens and residents. However, if any of the individuals you are contacting are in the European Union, or if there is a chance they could be EU citizens, then GDPR could apply. It's always a good practice to ensure that you have consent to contact people, regardless of where they are located, for CAN-SPAM compliance. As you are in the United States and assuming the contacts are too, you need to ensure the following. Don't use false or misleading header information. You're from, to, reply to, and routing information including the originating domain name and email address must be accurate and identify the person or business who initiated the message. Don't use deceptive subject lines. The subject line must accurately reflect the content of the message. Identify the message as an ad. The law gives you a lot of leeway in how to do this, but you must disclose clearly and conspicuously that your message is an advertisement. Tell recipients where you're located. Your message must include your valid physical postal address. Tell recipients how to opt out of receiving future email from you. Your message must include a clear and conspicuous explanation of how the recipient can opt out of getting email from you in the future. Honor opt-out requests promptly. Any opt-out mechanism you offer must be able to process opt-out requests for at least 30 days after you send your message, and you must honor the recipient's request within 10 business days. Let's proceed with crafting template A. Focusing on scarcity. Here is a draft for your review. Subject: limited time. Complimentary AI marketing consultation clock phase 3 o'clock. Email body: hi. First name: are you leveraging the full potential of AI in your marketing strategy? Your company. We understand that in the fast-paced world of health tech, getting your message to the right audience can be the biggest game changer. This is why we're offering a complimentary, one-time AI marketing consultation for select health-related firms this month. What's on offer? A personalized assessment of your current marketing strategies, insights on how AI can optimize your campaign performance and ROI, a sneak peek into our proprietary AI-driven marketing tools. The catch? We can only extend this offer to the first 10 companies that sign up due to high demand. This exclusive opportunity is valid until date. So let's connect before the slots fill up. Secure your spot by replying to this email or scheduling a call directly through calendar link. Don't miss out on the chance to transform your marketing approach with the power of AI. Best regards. Your full name, your position, your company, your contact information. Unsubscribe link. Remember to replace the placeholders with your actual company and contact information, and to include an unsubscribe link to remain compliant with CAN-SPAM. Would you like to make any changes or adjustments to this template?
This template is beautiful.
I'm glad you find the template suitable. If you'd like to proceed with creating template B or discuss the next steps for A/B testing and tracking, please let me know how you'd like to move forward. For template B, we will focus on social proof, highlighting case studies or testimonials from other companies that have benefited from your services. This can effectively demonstrate the value and reliability of your offerings. If you're ready, we can start drafting template B.
Beautiful. Okay. Yes. Yes. Oh, did I press enter again?
Great. Let's draft template B, which will incorporate social proof to demonstrate the value of your AI-driven marketing services. Subject: see how. Success case: company name, improved their marketing with AI Rocket. Email body: hi. First name: discover how companies like yours are revolutionizing their marketing strategies with AI. Your company. We're not just about promises, we're about proven results. Here's how we made a difference for. Success case: company name, a health-focused firm. Bullseye. Challenge: briefly describe a specific challenge the company was facing. Electric light bulb. Solution: our AI-driven approach identified untapped opportunities and optimized their campaigns in real time. Chart with upwards trend. Outcome: quantifiable results, like a percentage increase in engagement, leads, or sales. But don't just take our word for it. Here's what. Client's name, client's position, success case: company name, had to say. Insert a powerful testimonial that speaks to the results and satisfaction with your services. Are you ready to see similar results? Let's explore what your company can do for you. Schedule your free consultation today and take the first step towards a smarter marketing strategy that delivers. Calendar link. Looking forward to unlocking new potentials together. Your full name, your position, your company, your contact information. Unsubscribe link. Before using this template, ensure you have permission to use the client's name, the company's name, and their testimonial in your communication. Replace the placeholders with actual data and quotes to personalize the message. Once you have the templates ready, you can start your A/B testing by sending out the emails to a small, randomized subset of your sales funnel list. Ensure that each subset is representative of the larger list to get accurate results. Monitoring the key metrics such as open rates, click-through rates, and response rates. Analyzing the results to see which template performs better. Use this data to refine your approach and decide on the most effective template for broader outreach. And always remember to include an unsubscribe option in every email to comply with CAN-SPAM regulations. Would you like to proceed with finalizing these templates? Or is there anything else you'd like to add or change?
Okay, so for template B, I don't yet have any real observable success cases other than my own. I can show evidence for using some of the most recognized and what is it called? Like, is it acknowledged and recommended and marketed? Is it seriously? Wait, stop. Why does it keep pressing enter for me? And marketed platforms have not attained the same level of results as what I can do. What I am basically doing as a data scientist hat, with my data scientist hat, with my data scientist hat, is I am combining the different data points from different algorithms, both run-of-the-mill and AI algos, in a meaningful way to extrapolate insights that AI alone won't catch and your run-of-the-mill data scientist won't know to look for. How do I do this? Because I am combining street smarts with book smarts and a seriously wicked tech skills set to expedite my efforts. I can show you how I have gained success on YouTube, how I was able to find your info and generate this email crafted towards you specifically in a matter of an hour using AI and combining that with my own business acumen and grit. I have saved myself so much time and money that I spend most days playing with my dogs. Well, this almost builds itself. I shouldn't say that. I want that I know that I have not had to work very much this year and yet am making exponential gains in my wealth building efforts. Not liquid, but still. Okay. If you consent, I will treat your business like I have my own and be fully transparent with your data and keep your data private. And At any point you choose to opt out, you are welcomed to. I only will hold on to the synthetic data that I generate from your data points, so I can continue using it as proof that this method of mixing AI and algorithms together is one step closer to automation, to intelligent automation. As a computer scientist, data scientist, engineer, I do think that this is one way to understand how AGI is emerging. However, that is too sci-fi, and this is not up your alley. Please feel free to register for my upcoming app, agi.kitchen, where folks can pay to play with AI to AI experiments. Where folks can prepay the data collected from there is what I intend to use to create the next product I will focus on after this set in place, which is developing AI guardrails. Can be found at safeai.live. Please subscribe to my newsletter if you are interested in seeing how a 45-year-old Hispanic, dyslexic, disabled, maybe veteran, taught kindergarten for 9 years, has gone working with someone and with something. Okay, so here is where I'm gonna like stop this video, and then in moving forward, I will continue creating these videos, but I will use those for my own like I guess paid subscriptions, yeah, for stuff that I'm making, because I do think what I'm able to do, which is the metacognitive processes of how I'm thinking through these problems and these solutions, is like gold. Data is the new gold. I can find it, get it, and use it. Let's make lots of money.